All right, we are live. Make sure audio is working. Looks like it's good to go. Today we're looking at a new zip code in Birmingham. Just continue to learn a little bit more. This is 35218, a little bit west of the Birmingham downtown. I just quickly looked for 4-bedroom properties up here, and let's see. This is 1468 Pike Road, Birmingham, Alabama, 35218. Looks relatively turnkey for the most part. A random room here. Okay, so it's a 4-bedroom. Which are favorite, so I know I did this. So first thing first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the fair market rents, and to do that, you can just Google HUD FMR. FMR stands for fair market rents, and you can go down, click the first link, and then click on this link right here where it says Access Small Area FMRs. Okay. Now, look up FY 2024 FMRs, go to Alabama, go to the county. We know this is in Jefferson County. And now you're going to get by bedroom, by zip code, what the rent ceiling is. So these are the numbers that you care about. 35218. You're going to care that the rent ceiling for a 3-bed is $1,350. And then your 4-bed is going to be $1,510. All right, this is 35218. 35218. Cool. And now that I got my rents, I need to get my market rents next, right? So in order to get my market rents next, let me copy over the address really quick. We're going to go to affordablehousing.com. We're going to go to the owner section, go to the market rent estimator, plug in the address, plug in the better account, and now you're going to get the market rent that the number you're going to care most of here is this number right here, $1,355. So that's the average rent for 25 units within a 1.45 mile radius, $1,355. Okay, good to know. 1287. That's a 1.4 mile radius. Okay. Just because I'm here, I'm going to look at the rents for a 3-bedroom really quick so I can see what the lift looks like from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom. 1121. It's roughly about $230 in difference. Okay, that's good to know as I get to know this market a little bit better and better. All right, so now that I got my rents here, let's go ahead and get some numbers down. So this property is listed for $135,000, so I'll put 135,000. And for my renovations, I think this property looks pretty good for the most part. Maybe this floor needs a little bit of work, but not terrible. Not terrible at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check whether or not I'm going to have some budget for some flooring updates, even though it could be fine. So I might just do some flooring updates for like 20% of the property and painting for about 20% of the property, just because sometimes there's things that I cannot see from the photos. So 1729 is the total square feet. So I'm going to go to this area here where it says interior painting. It goes 1728 divided by 5. Now I'm going to do for flooring 1720 divided by 5, and that's going to be roughly estimated at $8 a square foot. So that's my renovations for this property. I got $500 for the landscaping. I got $1,500 for the roof repair, just in case there's some photos that I cannot see. I usually replace the toilets with high pressure flush toilets so that we don't have any issues with these properties. And this is going to be an $8,000 rehab. Okay, $8,000. Now, got my income rent of $1,355, so I'm going to use that number right here, $1,355. And then for my monthly property taxes, I'm going to get that right from Redfin at $81. And then homeowner insurance, I'm going to equals 105 times 1.2, right? So I'm adding a 20% premium to this property, because typically when they have a insurance policy that's listed in Redfin, it's generally assuming that someone's going to live there as a primary residence property. But because I'm using it as an investment rental, typically there is an additional premium or a higher premium amount. So that's why I'm multiplying by 1.2 every single month. So I got these numbers here. I'm setting aside 10% of my rent every single month for maintenance. So this includes knowing that my roof is going to get replaced in 10, 12, 15 years, right? If you don't set aside this money right now, when you get that 15 grand or 20 grand roof replacement 10 years from now, you're going to find out that you might not have made any money at all for the past couple of years or past 10 years. So it's really irresponsible when I see people telling people not to underwrite with any maintenance. It's really, really silly. So highly, highly don't recommend it. I know I've seen some other folks out there that's teaching that, and it's don't be that person. All right. So then I got property management for 10%, and I got 5% for vacancy because someone always moves out eventually. All right. So now that I got all my numbers in there, I need to put in my down payment. So if I put 25% down, my sell in E19 is going to be equals to my asking price in B4 multiplied by my payment percentage in F19, and that's going to be 33,750. All right. Now I got my closing costs of 2.5%. I got my renovations already estimated. So now what's left is my finance amount. So if I go to my finance amount in K6, all right, in K6, I'm going to equals my asking price minus my down payment. So the remaining amount's what I'm financing. And then I'm going to put about 8.25% of interest rate right now. That's roughly where things are, plus or minus like a quarter point-ish for DSCR. Now, if everything stayed the same, right? So if I rent this out property as a 4-bedroom for $1,355, right? I'm not using 1510 because why? Because usually that 1510 includes utilities, and I'm not including utilities here. But also there is a test. It's called rent reasonableness test. Now I'll pull up the guidebook for you guys. So this is the Housing Choice Voucher Guidebook. HCV is previously known as Section 8, but they rebranded Section to Housing Choice Voucher. And you go to Section 2.2, the definition where it says right here, in conducting rent reasonableness, the PHA or the Public Housing Authority, the ones that control the Section 8 program, must determine whether the rent to the owner is a reasonable rent in comparison to rent for other comparable unassisted units. Now, obviously, size, unit type matters, square footage matters, but typically, if I was looking at market rent for 4 bedrooms, there's not that many 4-bedroom apartments out there, so it's pretty safe to assume that that number probably included the single-family homes there. Okay, now that's why I'm using 1355 because that's the lower of the two when you compare it. Now, using 1355, I would be cash flowing $49 a month, and that would be roughly a 1.3% cash and cash return, assuming you bought this property at $135,000 with a rehab of $8,000, and assuming you're down to 25% with an 8.25% interest rate. Now, watch what happens, assuming everything else stays constant, right? Rent is still $1,355. Let's assume that the asking price, watch what happens to the asking price as we lower the asking price, and watch what happens to the cash and cash return. Let's go to $100,000. All right, now all of a sudden we're getting close to 10% at $90,000, 95. Let's see, going back up a little bit. 92, boom, 93. So now at $93,000, you'll be calculating 10.2% on your invested capital. 10.2. That's a $285 thing. So you might not think that is a deal at 135, but it's probably going to be a deal. Again, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments here, but this is how you adjust up and down. Hey James, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you coming on the live. All right, so that's how you adjust up and down the levers, right? Because for every single property, there's a price that makes it a deal, and there is a set of terms that makes it a deal. So know that it's a deal at $92,000, assuming everything else stays constant, meaning you're using a 25% down and a 0.25% DSCR loan with an $8,000. Yeah, it's a deal at $92,000, right? So let's go through a few scenarios, right? Let's say, well, you got them down to $93,000, and you had an inspection, and all of a sudden you find out like the flooring's all off, they didn't lay the floors well, or there's like some stuff in the floor that's probably shown that the subfloor has issues. It's just whatever, right? So let's say you doubled your rehab, right? If you doubled your rehab right here in B6, you saw how the cash and cash return just dropped to 8.22%. Well, now all of a sudden you probably won't be willing to pay $93,000 anymore, right? What if it's $88,000? Closer. 85. There you go. So now all of a sudden you took the emotion out of the deal, right? Even though you're still getting $13.55 for rent, in order for you to cash flow 10.1% on your return on your capital, you're now only willing to pay $85,000 instead of $92,000. Why? Because your rehab doubled to $16,000, even though everything else stayed constant. right? Now let's go through one more level. So see how we've been adjusting the scenarios one by one, right? Now, if you were to say, well, let's go to my interest rate. What if the interest rates drop to 7% all of a sudden, right? What does that do to your willingness to pay, right? Now, all of a sudden, your cash and cash return is a lot higher, right? Saw what happened to it became 11.71. Now, all of a sudden, even though your rehab doubled, you now are still willing to pay the same price because of how low the interest rate have gone, right? So if your interest rate went to 7% here, 25% down, your rehab still doubled than what you originally estimated, but now you're still willing to pay 93 grand because you're still at 10% return, right? Assuming that's your return criteria. Again, not investment advice. You guys should definitely consult with your own investment professionals. I'm just simply here showing you the work that I'm doing every single day for you to determine how do you determine what to deal and take emotion out of the deal. So just remember, right? All it takes is 18 minutes a day. 18 minutes a day, and you doing this for 365 days, you will be better at analyzing deals than 95% of the country. So what I'm hoping you do is simply copy my homework, right? Use the same spreadsheet. If you guys want to copy the spreadsheet, just go to affordablehousing.io, click on the Get Deal Analysis tool. So affordablehousing.io, not .com.io, click on the Get Deal Analysis tool, plug in your information. I promise I don't spam you, but this is the fastest way to get a copy of the spreadsheet because everybody was asking for it. I didn't make a spreadsheet from scratch. I got a few copies from a few other folks. I combined them, I tweaked them so that it accommodates the process that I go through to analyze deals in a very quick manner, right? Because the whole point of this is what? For us to avoid burnout. And how we get burnt out is when we do a ton of work for no return on our time. And that's what I'm trying to help you guys all avoid. As you guys quickly build up the skill set of ruling out deals, that's going to be an amazing, amazing thing. And as you get to learn each market in its own zip codes and everything, you're going to develop that expertise of that market over and over and over again. And eventually you're going to become a market expert, right? Because you look at these deals every single day. So I hope you all have an amazing day. I hope you guys spend some quality time with your family and friends today because that's what life is all about. All right. Have an amazing day, everybody. I'll be back here again tomorrow for day 270. Have a good one, everybody.